Hey there, Wanderer. Welcome back to the Fate Gate. Today I've gathered 3 little tales just for you. So tuck yourself in, light a candle, and let the forest stories unfold. Please, get yourself comfy. I hope that you have a nice drink by you, a blankie, turn down the lights, and here we go. We're going to start off by reading Dracula's Nightcap. It is on the website Nightly Whispers. Dracula's Nightcap. In the heart of New York City, where the towering skyscrapers pierce the night sky, Lucy was a woman who had always been captivated by the beauty of nighttime. She reveled in the shimmering constellations above and the city's dazzling neon lights below. Lucy was a night owl through and through, a creature of darkness. One fateful evening, as the city's heartbeat pulsed with life, Lucy stumbled upon a bar unlike any other. It sat nestled between two nondescript buildings, a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. The sign above the entrance simply read, "The Nightcap." Intrigued by the the word's back, guys. Enigmatic aura of the place, Lucy decided to step inside. As she entered, the dimly lit interior seemed to stretch endlessly into the shadows. The bar was sparsely populated, save for a few patrons huddled in deep conversation. Their voices hushed like secrets shared only among the night's chosen few. Behind the bar stood a man named Vlad, a tall and charismatic figure with piercing blue eyes that seemed to sparkle like sapphires under the low, sultry lighting. His jet black hair framed a chiseled face, and his smile was both inviting and mysterious. Lucy took a seat at the bar, and Vlad approached her with a smile that revealed a hint of perfectly white fangs. "Welcome to the Nightcap, my dear," he purred in a velvety voice that sent shivers down her spine. "What can I get for you on this fine evening?" Intrigued by Vlad's presence, Lucy ordered a classic cocktail, a Manhattan, and began to converse with the enigmatic bartender. They talked about life, the city, and the allure of the night. As the hours slipped away, Lucy found herself drawn to Vlad's magnetic personality. Weeks turned into months, and Lucy became a regular at the Nightcap. Her friendship with Vlad deepened, and they often found themselves sharing stories that stretched far into the dawn. Vlad revealed his ageless wisdom, his love for art and literature, and his fascination with the mysteries of the universe. He was not just a bartender. He was a connoisseur of the night, a vampire who had witnessed centuries of history. One night, as Lucy sipped her Manhattan, she confided in Vlad about her fear of the dark, a fear that had haunted her since childhood. Vlad listened attentively, and a mischievous glint danced in his eyes. "I have a solution for your fear, Lucy," he said, his voice as smooth as silk. "Would you trust me enough to accompany for a night stroll through Central Park?" Lucy hesitated, but felt a strange sense of comfort in Vlad's presence. She agreed, and as the clock struck midnight, they left the Nightcap behind and ventured into the park, bathed in moonlight. Under the canopy of trees, Lucy felt her fear begin to dissipate as Vlad guided her through the dark, enchanting paths. He shared stories of his centuries-long existence, the lives he had touched, and the beauty he had witnessed in the stillness of the night. As the night waned and the first light of dawn broke the horizon, Lucy realized that her fear had transformed into fascination and wonder. Vlad had shown her the beauty of nighttime, the world hidden beneath the veil of darkness. Over time, Lucy's bond with Vlad deepened, transcending mere friendship. They shared a love that was as timeless as the night itself, and together they embraced the beauty of the darkness. And so, in the heart of New York City, Lucy's fear of the dark became a distant memory, replaced by a love for the night and a connection with a vampire named Vlad, who had not only conquered her fear, but also stolen her heart. As the city's lights continued to sparkle, and the stars above shimmered with an age-old wisdom, Lucy and Vlad knew that their love story was destined to be as eternal as the night itself, forever celebrated at the Nightcap, where the beauty of the night came alive. That was Dracula's Nightcap. Short, sweet, very nice. Very nice. We're on storyberries.com, and we're now about to read No More Eggs for Helen. No More Eggs for Helen. Hello, my friends. My name is Harry, and I'm so happy you have come to hear a story with me once more. Today's story is about something I saw all the way up here on top of my tree. It all began on a misty morning. As I was drinking my morning cup of tea, I saw a red hen. Her name was Helen. I had never seen her waddle into the woods. She had looked very tired. She must have come from very far away. Suddenly a giant hoof stomped in front of her. It was followed by a deep voice that said, "Sorry down there, I didn't see you." Helen just kept waddling on. As Helen snuggled into a bush, suddenly there was another voice. It said, "Do I look like a seat?" Helen looked down and couldn't see anything, so she relaxed again. But then, that same voice from below said, in a firmer tone this time, "I said, do I look like a bed?" It was Keith the tortoise. He wasn't very happy, but this wasn't a new thing for him to be sad on. Gloria the gorilla often did the same thing too. Helen introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Helen, and I can't lay eggs anymore." Keith thought this was a strange way to introduce yourself. Fig agrees. Keith started with, "Hi, I'm Keith. I'm slow and old and keep being sat on." They both laughed, and Helen said, "I don't have a job anymore." Keith said, "That can't be true. Let's have a think about what you could do. What about collecting grass for nests, gathering berries for eating, making baskets, delivering medicine, keeping the lake clean? Oh, what about removing fleas from monkeys?" Helen didn't like any of those jobs. All she had ever done was lay eggs and sit on them. With a goodbye cluck, Helen didn't waste any time. She headed off to the meadow in the middle of the woods and started to collect grass in her beak. But what to do with it when she picked it? She had no arms, so she gave up on that and headed back towards the woods. As she got to the woods, she met Daisy the bear. Daisy had heard all about Helen's problem and offered her the chance to come berry picking, so off they went to the berry bush. Daisy had a big basket, and one by one she dropped the berries in. Helen watched. It looked easy enough, so she gave it a go. Pop, it went, then pop again. Daisy said, "Maybe try being softer." So Helen did, and pop, the berry went. 50 berries later, Helen was done. She hadn't managed to get a single berry in the basket, but had a face full of berry juice. By this point, it was lunch time, and I was having some lunch up in my treehouse. A nice bowl of sunflower seeds hit the spot, but I must admit I don't really like washing up, so I let the little owls do that. Well, back to the story. Where were we? Oh yes, Helen had just realized berry picking wasn't for her. Just then, Glenn the hedgehog shuffled over to her and introduced himself. He could see that she was super sad and asked if she wanted someone to talk to. Helen explained that since leaving the farm because she couldn't lay eggs, she felt really sad and useless. Glenn listened carefully, and when she was done, he said, "That must be really hard for you. I had a problem when I was young. I was too spiky to play most games. In the end, it was okay though." Helen felt reassured by Glenn. With a grateful cluck goodbye, off she went. As Helen wandered the woods, she saw everyone going about their day like normal. Daisy the bear was picking berries, Dan the moose was stripping bark from the trees, and Rosemary the robin was collecting twigs for her nest. But Helen, she had nothing to do. Suddenly a voice from above her said, "Hey, Mrs. Hen!" Then, when she stopped to look up around, she heard the same voice say, "Psst, up here." Helen looked up, and I'm going to be honest, I really thought Iona the cat was going to eat her. But this is what happened instead. Iona explained that she found some eggs in a tree that the forest rangers had planted, and had been looking after them ever since. Iona's last words to Helen were, "Do you want to take over and sit on these eggs? I can't just sit here anymore, it's so boring." Helen jumped up and down, shouting, "Yes, yes, yes, I will do it." And before Iona had the chance to even get down from the lowest branch of the tree, there Helen was trying to settle down on these slightly large eggs. As Helen sat there on the large eggs, Dan the moose walked past and said in his big, deep voice, "Looking good, little hen. What's in the eggs? They're huge." Helen said, "I don't know yet. We will find out." With that, Dan walked on. Later that day, Daisy the bear was walking past. She needed a stretch and let out a big bear roar because it felt nice. when she noticed Helen sitting on the eggs. She said, "Sorry, my lovely. I didn't mean to startle you. I'm glad you found a job. Those eggs are gigantic. What's in them?" Helen said, "I don't know, but we will soon find out." I saw Keith the tortoise shuffling past Helen. He shouted up, "I knew you would find something useful to do. Do you know what's in those eggs?" Helen just smiled and said, "We will find out soon enough." Rosemary the robin landed on the branches next to Helen and said in her sweet little voice, "Do you need anything, sweetie? I haven't seen you move from those eggs." Helen said, "No, thank you. I'm used to sitting still for a long time." Rosemary said, "I hope there's something nice in those eggs." Helen said, "We will see soon enough. I can feel them giggling." It was dark with only the stars to light up the sky, and Helen sat there looking up and thinking how grateful she was that she had a job, when suddenly the eggs started to crack and wriggle from left to right, left to right. Helen said, "Welcome to the world, my darlings," as these two lizards stuck their heads out of the shells. So, my friends, that's the end of the story for today. I hope you come by again sometime for more stories about my friends in the forest, and may all your jobs come with nice surprises. The end. That story was very cute. It was very nice. It was very sweet. It made no freaking sense. Yes, there was an owl and a bear and a moose in the forest, but then there was a tortoise. Kind of makes sense. And then there was a cat. Okay. And then there was monkeys. Weird. And now there's lizards planted by rangers in a tree. But it was nice. It was sweet. We are on lemonsandletters.com, and we will be reading The Story of the Tired Moon. The moon worked day in and day out, but it often went unnoticed. The moon was always in the sky, shining especially bright through the dark nights. When it was very big and full, it could illuminate whole fields and streets, covering everything in a beautiful white glow. On nights when the sky was very clear, the moon could even shine in through people's windows. On those nights, everyone admired it for its size and splendor. During the day, the sun was always the center of attention. It was especially well liked by the inhabitants of Earth for its warm rays. On summer days, the moon had to wait much longer for the sun to finally set, and thick clouds often blocked the moon's view of Earth. On some days, heavy rain meant that the moon had to try to shine through solid fog and dark clouds, but often couldn't manage it. On those days, the moon was especially discouraged. "Nobody sees me anyway," the moon would mutter, feeling sorry for itself and the faint, flickering stars around it. Still, evening after evening, the moon waited for its time to shine, often saying, "Come on, clouds, pass quickly." When it was finally dark enough, the moon would gently begin to wake the stars and encourage them to shine. Each evening, the moon made sure all the stars were ready on time, to shine and sparkle high in the sky in case it was a clear night. On clear nights, all the attention belonged to the stars and the moon. Sometimes the stars were so happy that they danced across the sky, leaving long trails of light behind them. One day, the clouds spread so far that for weeks there was no way to shine through. The stars tried to keep each other happy by telling jokes and stories, and the moon did its best to keep everyone awake for nightfall in case the clouds cleared. This went on, night after night, with the moon and the stars all hoping that the cloud coverage would dissipate. Of course, they all wanted to be prepared to shine as brightly as possible when they did. But the clouds did not move. Eventually, the moon became very tired. One evening, it could not stay awake any longer. The stars also fell asleep, dreaming of clear nights when they were admired in the sky. The moon and the stars were in such a deep sleep that none of them noticed when the cloud coverage broke. That day, the sun stayed out late and colored the sky with the most beautiful reds and purples. But something wasn't right. When the sun was about to disappear, it noticed that the sky was darker than usual. On evenings like this, the moon usually can't wait to take over my position in the sky, the sun thought. Then the sun noticed that all the stars were missing too. "I must find the moon before the inhabitants of Earth notice," thought the sun. But everyone the sun asked didn't know where the moon and the stars had gone, and everywhere the sun looked, the moon wasn't there. The next few nights were the darkest anyone had ever seen. There wasn't a twinkle in the sky. The animals and people realized they had been taking the moon and the countless little stars for granted. They missed their glowing and glittering. The moon suddenly woke up from the dream that it had overslept. Except it wasn't a dream. Nervously, the moon looked around and was startled to find that the night was pitch black and that all the stars were fast asleep. Right away, the moon set about gently waking each star. On Earth, after many nights of darkness, the animals and people looked up to the sky in joy and marveled as each bright spot lit up in the dark sky one after another. The end. The last leaf has fallen on today's stories. I hope they brought a little magic to your day. If you enjoyed our time beneath the canopy, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Rest easy now, and may your dreams be full of soft moss and starlight. Bye!